Wow. I shall look at that plane on the top.
Hello, I'm David in Manning Depot. Before I could begin flight training in Goderich.
How do I use the keyword?
I assume this is the searchlight.
Perhaps I didn't understand that. Could you say it a different way?
1941. This is the searchlight.
Use the keyword.
So they have bomb aimer, pilot, flight engineer, navigator, wireless operator, air gunner, and another air gunner. What is this?
A link trainer.
Wow.
It trains
Just to
them,
practice, yeah.
to see how it feels in space. This one is Canadian. So this used to be the Bible.
Rolls-Royce turbojet engine.
Is this like the
So,
engine for the plane?
this is Cessna crane. This one is a Cessna crane. And this is the engine. Am I seeing? Yeah, this one is the engine. Rolls-Royce 9810 engine. Oh.
There are different ones. Some models you can get in and out. This one you can't.
There's some of them.
That's on the front for the bomb aiming. They're laying on the front of the window, aiming the bomb site to drop the bombs.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It'd be scary sitting in there when you see the fighters coming up behind you.
Look at the size of the wheel, man.
The museum began in 1972 with 4 guys buying one airplane. They wanted to buy a P-51 Mustang, couldn't afford it, so they bought a Perry Firefly. That was the first aircraft, not the one that's in the museum. Unfortunately, the first one we had an accident. So this one was a replacement for it. But that's when it started back in 1972. The other thing about the history factor here is that this location, the airport at Mount Hope here, was the site of a elementary flying school, part of the British Commonwealth Air Training Plan during the war. Where in Canada we trained over 130,000 aircrew at bases all around the country. This location here in 1939 to 42 was used for the elementary flying school. So the people that came here, young men at the time, 18 years of age approximately, they would never have seen an airplane, or seen one, but they have never flown. They were so very basic training. And if they were successful in completing the course here as, in terms of the flying crew, they would then be designated towards either future fighter training or transport bomber training, heavier aircraft, depending on their suitability. If it wasn't to be pilots, they would be designated for bombing and gunnery schools, navigation schools, and I mentioned Yellowbirds. The Yellowbirds being the aircraft that were designated as trainers during the Second World War. We were flying those this morning, taking people for rides. Beautiful day for it. We had T-33 Silver Star, which was a training jet in the 1950s, one of the early jet trainers. Two-seater, of course, one for the instructor and one for the pilot. And also they would be armed and they were taught gunnery skills as well as flying skills in this aircraft. This particular one here is, the reason it's in this red and white configuration is when it was a training aircraft, it was very typical of the Air Force at the time, where it was basically a bare metal aircraft with red wingtip tanks and red flashes. This one was, after it finished its service as a trainer, it was assigned to the snowbirds. The snowbirds. And so it was used as a support aircraft. So our intention, full of good intention, was to repaint it back to its original snowbird colors. And they made a start on it, and you can see, not a very successful start. So it's going to have to be redone. We're going to go inside.
Said for 40 minutes, so
You're okay for 40 minutes?
we're okay for another 20.
Wow, now we're inside this plane. Okay.
I remember one thing that like back in the day they used this in some kind of like a flight war as well, like with the strings attached to it as well in the movies.
It was built in Toronto in 1978. De Havilland have a habit of calling their aircraft by animal names. We have a chipmunk. We also have there's the caribou, there's the otter, and the beaver. These are all Canadian aircraft by de Havilland. And this one is no different. It was called a buffalo, and you'll see there are stuffed buffaloes around in here. And in 1978, it was built for the Sudanese Air Force in North Africa. And you'll see, yeah, it's not that old. I mean, it's just, anyway, that's what it was designed for originally. The Sudanese required a couple of things that made it a little bit different. This aircraft is not a pressurized aircraft, so they required. So, yeah, the Sudanese operated it around 1990 or so. Then they had a hard landing and damaged the nose wheel of the aircraft. And it comes in quite steeply, flares out, and reverse thrust on the propeller and stop. Now, they can take off in the length of 2 football fields, so it can go into a lot of places that were conventional aircraft that require long runways, obviously can't do. So it's very versatile, and they used it for transporting material, food, ammunition, whatever, for the armed forces. Up in the ceiling here you have ramps that enable them to bring in vehicles, small vehicles like jeeps and things of that sort, into there. There'll be a proper floor. This is put in for our convenience, but a proper metal graded floor to be able to roll things around inside. And Oscar here, his name is Adam. Well, they call him Moscow? I have no idea why. I guess he's schizo or something. But anyway, he had him here. It represents the paratroopers. You have a parachute on his back. He has a reserve chute here. The parachute on his back is connected to a static line. And when they approach the target area where they're going to drop the paratroopers, they get a signal from the flight deck. And it's not operating now because we don't have power on out here. But there's a red light here, red caution light, and then there's a green jump light. When the red caution light comes on, they hook up their parachute to the line. And when the green jump goes, they run as fast as they can out the back. The idea being that they don't want to be spread all over the ground. When they get there, they need to be as close together as possible. So there's no time to be wasted. They go bang, 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 very quickly out. They were originally retired. That was an early color scheme for the search and rescue group. And 2 years ago they retired them. Now we have a new aircraft that's replacing us. It's called a Kingfisher. It's an Airbus 295. And that's been set up for the search and rescue group. So they would, they'll fly to an accident situation. They'll jump from the aircraft. SARTEX will jump into the water or into the ground, whatever they have to do to help people in distress. That's the idea. So that's what their Kingfisher will be replacing the Buffalo. The bulkhead there, the Buffalo 9. And that was the single largest loss of life in one incident that the Royal Canadian Air Force was the TTC strike. So we did get a paragraph here about the incident that occurred. Yes, straight.
So this was in 1970? 74.
Yeah, that's the picture.
1974, it was the incident, and it's depicted in the
9th,
poster here.
yeah, 9th August 1970.
August the 9th.
Yeah.
And August the 9th is now recognized as International Peacekeepers Day.
This Canadian aeroplane was replaced by European airplane. Airbus is replaced.
Yes.
We should take the Canadian made airplane.
Yes, absolutely. There was in this company, Whiteout, there was rumors of them basically rebuilding what is the Buffalo. De Havilland doesn't do it. Hangar in the airport here, Berkeley now. And during that period, it was in the early 1990 around there. Very rare and extremely expensive to replace. Several $1 million to buy a flying one, or even one that was restorable. So this aircraft was given to us at the time, and it is a part of the original. The mold and everything else is that was created for it is from the original, and so it's the only part of the original one we lost was the undercarriage here. That was the original wheels of the one that was flying. At that point, the Hurricane fighter squadrons were manned by the Hawker Hurricane. Spitfires, of course, came along at that period of time and continued to take over the primary role as the main fighter to take on German fighters. The Hurricanes, their role as time progressed was to then go after the German bombers. But in the Battle of Britain in 1940, that was its height. This aircraft, its 8 machine guns, was very successful opponent for the German fighters that were coming over. One little side story is Victoria Cross being the highest medal that's given for gallantry, that was to a Flight Lieutenant Roger Nicholson of the Royal Air Force. He was flying a Hurricane over on patrol in the south of England, actually over the Supermarine factory in Southampton where they were building Spitfires. And so he was on patrol when he was attacked by a Messerschmitt Me-110 and fired 20mm cannons into his aircraft and one into his foot. So his aircraft was ready to go down, of course, and he would pull back the canopy and climbed out of his cockpit, halfway out anyway, and the Me-110 came by in a second run, and right past him, but he was really tipped off. So he climbed back in.
Oh.
This is a Voodoo.
That's the missile.
Douglas in the U.S. This is actually designed and built by the Americans. We purchased these Voodoos when the government canceled the Avro program in 1959. It was supposed to be our all-weather interceptor fighter that had been developed and was really started testing with the greater .7 aircraft. It got so expensive, and with certain political influences, they decided to abandon the program and go with the Bobak missile, which is what essentially was to replace it, which was eventually cancelled by the Americans too. So initially we bought 66 of these aircraft in the strike mode for a long time.
This is from 1900.
Okay.
What was the time in which the aircraft built?
During the 1960s through the 70s and 80s.
Wow.
Yeah, this maximum speed is about 1,100 miles per hour. And this one, very nice. But it was designed and built in the States. On the other hand, this one over here, the one you like so much, pretty colored color.
Bumblebee.
Bumblebee, yeah, that's right. We have two of these. The other one you saw on the way in, it was sitting on a pylon outside. It looks quite different because it was in the original Air Force livery of the day, which essentially was a bare metal with red flashes on the wingtip tanks. There's no wingtip tanks on this one, you'll see. The wings are very small, very thin, so it doesn't give a lot of lift. That's the purpose of the wing, of course, is to create lift for the aircraft. So to compensate for that, it's very fast. It would be about 180 knots per landing takeoff speed for this aircraft. And when it landed, they would use the tractor out the back to slow it down. So it was a fighter initially, and this one is a single-seat fighter version. The one you see on the pole outside is a two-seat training version. And we actually retired. It was put on they took the wings and so on off and stuffed it all in on a Hercules aircraft and flew it right in here. It came off the plane and it's in here. This one has a cannon on it, just where you're standing. Where you hold your hand up. And there was the manufacturer, and Northrop was the designer. It was a fighter to replace the 104. The 104s were replaced with this CF-5. And here at Germany too, where we had NATO commitments. A couple of things that Canadair changed from the original aircraft designed by the Americans. Canadair added the in-flight refueling probe on top. You see that there? That was an addition that Canadair put on, and primarily because of Canada's airspace with distances and so on, that we needed more ability to refuel in the air. even when in operations. These tanks that you see here, they're also additional fuel tanks. Plus those hard points would be used. Aircraft, it was very predominant during the Korean War, particularly successful after they replaced the engine with the Canadian Orenda jet engine, made its performance even better and much more competitive with the MiG-50s that they were fighting against at that time. And it did actually break the sound barrier. This aircraft was one of the first to do that.
Wow.
And actually it was the first lady to break the sound barrier. Did it in an F-86 Sabre. Jackie Cochran, her name was. And so she, there you go. Just like this, if you look at the name, they have given the guys that usually operate this just call them.
This one is massive, Asim.
You're welcome, thank you for coming.
This is huge. What is the name of this one? B-25J, Mitchell 3. Fixing it?
They're planning to fly it in the summer.
Fly karega. Oh, that's nice.
More information is in front of that plane.
So next summer this plane is going to go for flights. This is 102 feet.
There's a flag up there that shows like it.
Aisha, look at this. What a massive. This bowling broke. They're restoring this one. This is Fleet 21K. Model 21. consolidated in 1936 and 1937. This aircraft was used by Fleet's chief test pilot, the famous Tommy Williams, to test the parachutes made by Irwin Industries Canada. And amazing thing is that William bought this and continued to fly it as a private aircraft. He did not give up his pilot's license until he was the age of 82. That's amazing. And this is model 16, that was model 21. Yeah. This is called North American Yale, 1940. Huh? And this, oh wow. Beechcraft C-45 Expediter. Wow. Used by Armed Forces, Canadair CT-114. Wow. Look inside. Wow. Massive, going all the way to the other side. This is consolidated PBY-5A Canso. Maiden flight in 1933. Wow. This is another one, Canadian, Royal Canadian Navy. This is Fairey Firefly AS5. Engine is one Rolls-Royce Griffon 74. See how tight the space is. Not easy to fly. So this is the iconic Supermarine Spitfire LFMK. It was introduced in 1938 and saw action in every major Royal Air Force battle of the Second World War. Spitfires, along with Hurricanes, played a crucial role in the Battle of Britain. Another massive one. This is Douglas DC-3 Dakota. Wow. So this is Nanchang CJ6A. It's a primary trainer plane. And they were constructed, lots of them, several thousands were constructed from 1954 to 1959.
This is called a flying boat.
Yep.
So the way it works is that once they want to land in water, you see this thing all goes up. See those flat places, boat-like
The
thing?
round circles?
Yes.
Yep.
So what happens is that and
The front
that wheel goes in like this,
All the wheels go
and then
in.
the surface at the bottom is sort of like this, right?
Closed.
Just like a boat, the bottom of a boat, and it just lands.
And they take like that puffy thingy out.
It's a water
They don't have
plane.
that thing, they don't have that thing here. It's an observation post, I think, some place for people to sit.
Let me
Carry,
check.
it probably has room to carry passengers. It's more of a patrol plane, patrolling the seas.
PBY flying boat prototype. It's a flying boat kind of a thing, isn't it? Flying boat, they say. Have you checked this one, Asim? It is so big, massive. It's a fighter plane. Yeah. De Havilland Vampire FBMK6. Vampire. Fighter plane. This is North American Howard.
As for the Australia, tens of thousands of airmen return home.
Oh, Aisha. That's amazing.
Each land is inhabited. This is done in the city position. It's the final sense of his use of the play. You begin in place of a person.
These are the old videos.
Every perfect good is also a great offer for a perfect fit. Now, once we want straight and square on the head, never come at an angle. This area is sometimes never around blue line stopping. After the photographs are going up, every altitude requires 600 square feet of dirt.
These are original videos, you see, old ones.
Okay.
Let's go.